The politics of immigration is a good example of what's called zero-sum thinking. It's the idea that one person's gain is another person's loss. That if someone is succeeding, it must be because someone else is failing. If immigrants are here, working jobs, making money, and being free, then jobs, money, and freedom must be being taken from native, let's face it, white Americans. This thinking is wrong. The economy is not zero-sum. When people move from less productive economies to more productive economies, they produce more for themselves, but also more for others. Restricting them from moving restricts production, which is why economists believe that the world would be $78 trillion richer if anyone was allowed to move and work anywhere. That is to say, the world would be richer if we had open borders. I know, open borders sounds crazy. Even the most progressive politicians don't fully support it.
Open borders. That's a Koch brothers proposal.
But it would make a lot of the global poor richer, wouldn't it?
And it'd make everybody in America poor. Then you're doing away with the concept of a nation state.
However, it is part of our history. Prior to the late 19th century, there were no federal immigration laws in the United States. Now, there were state restrictions, but if you got kicked out of Massachusetts for being Catholic, which totally happened, you could just move to Connecticut, Rectangle, Massachusetts. So during this era of open borders, there were massive amounts of Irish, German, Jewish, and even Chinese immigration, and America actually grew. We produced steel, we made railroads, we opened markets, Coke was invented. It was great. The problem was people were stupid, including very, very smart people. You see, a lot of people just flat out didn't like immigrants. It started with the know-nothings who feared that Catholic immigration would taint America's Protestant character. It then bled into general racism against the Chinese with the Chinese Exclusion Act in the 1880s, which by the way was the first federal immigration restriction. During the early 20th century, we had the rise of eugenics, a scientific movement that advocated the reduction of undesirable traits. This included forced sterilization, prohibiting certain types of marriages, and immigration restrictions. And that brings us to today. Not just America, but developed countries around the world are experiencing a surge in nativism. In continental Europe, it's far-right and even fascist parties calling for greater restrictions on refugees. In the UK, it's the Brexit movement, which was largely motivated by opposition to the EU's liberal immigration policy. In the US, it's Trumpism and the alt-right. From an open borders perspective, no president really has a clean record on immigration, but Trump has been the absolute worst.
A total and complete shutdown of Muslims entering the United States.
Illegal immigrants would be denied lawful permanent residency if they've received aid.
This is what a ticking time bomb looks like, according to a facility manager inside an overpacked detention center in Texas.
Journalists inside described a stench and said men had tears in their eyes.
We are not terrorists.
It's a type of shit they'll put in the feel-bad section of history books. People die in these conditions, and it's the result of stupid laws and the Trump administration's particular cruelty. Finally, and most importantly, these restrictions trap people in poverty. If people are coerced to stay in unproductive, dangerous, and oppressive environments, that makes it almost impossible to alleviate poverty. Sometimes the best way to get ahead is to escape your surroundings. Many of our ancestors understood this. It's a shame that their descendants don't.